call the meeting to order. And Kevin, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Dave, if you'll call the roll.
Brian.
Here.
Dave. Here. Linda.
Here.
Heather.
Here.
Bob.
Here.
All present.
Thank you. Before we approve the agenda, we have two new additions. Bob came in and he asked to add the addition of a request to add the rental of an auger, and we'll add that under new business. And today I also got in correspondence the request to let the county know if we are interested in doing a tire drive for 2025. And we'll add that under recurring business. If I could have a motion, please, to approve the agenda with those two additions.
I'll make that motion.
Any other additions or
There's a
corrections?
correction. The minutes
Oh,
last
yes.
month should be August 13th, not 11th.
Yeah, I forgot to put,
Down below in the minutes
oh,
for the previous month.
right.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I left those two things out. There are two mistakes in the agenda. One, it should say September. And the minutes also. Make that correction on the minutes. So with those changes, any other changes? All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, agenda has been approved. All right, Heather, the treasurer's report.
Do you want to approve the minutes?
Oh, the minutes, yeah, we just said minutes and then
But I will move to approve the minutes.
I'll support.
any additions or corrections on these? No discussion? All in favor? Aye. Minutes have been approved. Now, Heather, on to you.
Our August 1st, 2024 general fund beginning balance was $1,058,119.43. Revenues totaled $103,031.19. Expenditures totaled $171,919.97, leaving an ending balance of $989,230.65.
Thank you. Do you
Fire
want to-
services are paid.
Yes. All
You
of
can
our
tell.
fire
Yeah.
contracts are paid, yeah.
Do any of you have questions for Heather regarding any? Okay. Then we will put the financial state, or the treasurer's report, we will put that on file as presented. Thank you, Heather. Disbursements, Dave.
Well, I did manage to beat Heather last month.
Yes, you did.
I spent more than she took in. Yeah, we paid for the walking path, that was quite a hit. But, other than that, just normal bills, so.
Could I have a motion then?
I will make a motion to pay all the regular bills for the month of September.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you. Any other correspondence other than the one that I just mentioned?
Mhm.
I don't have any either. All right, moving on to public comments then. Public comments, Tom?
In reference to what?
Public comments on anything on the agenda.
Right. I got something to comment on later.
Okay. Public comments on any agenda items.
Would that be like when I would like make a suggestion of something related to like, you know, planting, or would you want me to do that all at once? Later?
Later probably,
Okay,
I think.
I just
Yeah.
didn't know when.
Yeah, this would be in reference to anything regarding something that is right on the agenda. but
Right.
It could be,
It could, oh, it's all good, I'll wait.
okay. Yours is kind of falls, one of
Yeah.
those kind of nebulous ones. It could be either,
Okay.
so. All right, we'll move along to new business. This was just an FYI. The Planning Commission will be meeting on September 18th at 6 o'clock. It's a public hearing, which is why I noted it on our agenda. It's a public hearing for ordinance 2024-04. It's regarding ponds, moving of buildings, our sign ordinance, and group homes. So if anyone's interested in any of that information, please feel free to attend. Anyone have any questions regarding that? No? Okay. Next item is a bid to clean up property located at 2246 Ewing Road. And we did just find out this may have just been cleaned up, but we are going to seek board approval for this anyway, just in the event that it has not. So if I could have a motion to,
I'll second.
all right, we have a motion and a second. Any questions? All right, since we're spending money, I do need voice vote on it.
Bob,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes,
Dave, yes, Brian.
Yes.
all right. Motion carries, thank you. All right, this is also something that I chose to put on our agenda because it is also a point of information, but the township is working with our attorney to review how to handle turning over a piece of property on Don Snow Camp, which is a private subdivision. Townships are not allowed to own streets, and we do right now own it was at one time a piece of property. It has somehow over the course of time turned into a street. We are now examining how to turn this over to the residents of Don Snow Camp subdivision. So this is probably going to be a lengthy process. And so I put it on here to let the board members know that this is going to take some time, and the attorney has now got all the paperwork that we have in our township, in the building. He has that in his office as well. So we're going to decide what the best process is for turning that over to the residents and how we're going to make that happen.
How has it been handled up to now? We treated it as our road, maintaining it, or?
Well, it's maintained by we plow it only as we plow that as part of the Don Snow Camp. So that's just the way it is, because we have a...
So really, we haven't recognized it as our road?
No, we don't recognize it as our road, it's just a Don Snow Camp road,
Okay.
so.
What brought that to light in the first place?
There's some issues about it being people using it as a public road who are not part of the subdivision. Yes, sir.
What particular road are you talking about?
It's Oak Road.
Oak Road? And who's the attorney
For the
for the
township.
township?
For the township, it's Ross, Leisman.
What does,
Are you part of, I'm sorry, normally we wait until,
I'm a
so-
property owner out
okay,
there.
in that, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
and then in the language it says turning over the street. I don't understand, will you define
Well,
that?
Perhaps you'd like to speak with me later. We could have a private meeting over this.
Thank
This
you.
would not be the venue to discuss this in this
Roger
kind
that.
of setting. I'd be happy to, if you'd like to come in or stay after the meeting or something, I'd be happy to meet with you.
Thank you.
Okay. Board members, do you have any other questions regarding this?
I would recommend to the individual speaking that you make a public comment and so it's recorded. There's a section that you can public comment. I would bring that up.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
thank you.
thank you very much.
It's our first
And I-
meeting.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, and I'd be happy to meet with you privately and sit in and chat with you and let you know exactly what we're doing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, under unfinished business on Dawson Road, oh, yeah.
Before you said that, Bob's auger.
Oh, I'm sorry,
did
auger,
auger.
I did, and I did put the auger, yes, Bob, if you wanna,
Well, I got a quote from Rock Planet, and it was $575 for the 24-inch auger with a skid steer. It's delivered to us out here. We're gonna volunteer to put 75 holes in the ground for our parking lot, keep people from driving out into the walkways and stuff. And me and Bill Jeffries and maybe Dave Stammy will be the 3 volunteers, maybe more, who knows, but that was a good price.
would you also let us know what the other price was for the one in Fremont, so we have that for
$376,
three?
but we gotta go pick it up and bring it back.
Okay.
So,
And is it, that's a one-time price?
right, yeah. $376 or $575, but we'd have to take company truck, go pick it up. You know, we're gonna burn gas in that.
What if you use it for more than a day or,
We're not gonna need it more than a day.
okay, all right,
We already know that.
Okay.
So. And then Brian Fowler, he put in a quote for $1,000 to do this 75 holes, but we're saving a little money, you know, $425. So. And we wanna do it, so.
okay. All right, so Bob is given a price of
$75
$575
total.
total,
That's for a day.
one day.
And everybody seems to think we can do it in a half day, but I think it'll take us a week.
Goes quick.
The
Okay,
telephone poles are heavy.
you're, don't be offended by this.
You're gonna help?
No. I
I'd
might offer Ron, but,
All right. Big, big guy.
but
Thanks, Ron.
you're sure you're up to it?
Sure? Yeah.
That's a lot of work,
We're
isn't
using
it?
equipment. not a
We
ramp.
got
tractor.
tractors.
Yeah,
Pick
tractor
it
lift the
up, put it
poles up
down.
and drop them in.
Oh, I had visions of you all hefting me.
There.
No, we got filming.
You left out that part.
Well, I didn't.
We got volunteers.
So Dave Stammy's bringing his tractor down, you know,
Yeah.
to pick the poles up and move them and chain them and drop them in the holes.
Nobody said that.
Big surprise. Surprise.
Okay, All right, so now we have 1 day's worth of semi-labor. It's labor, right? At $5.75. Could I have a motion, please?
I'll make
Bob made the motion.
the motion.
I'll support.
All right. We're spending money, so we need a voice vote.
All right, Bob,
Yes.
Heather,
Yes.
Linda,
Yes,
Dave, yes, Brian.
Yes.
motion carries. And for those of you who don't know, these poles have been donated by Consumers Power Company, and they are to stop people from traveling past the end of the parking lot area there and going into the children's play area. So, an adult exercise area, and past places where they should not go.
Keep them from making a race course out of our walkway.
So,
It'll be fun.
so, and believe it or not, it is a problem. So, we have to be careful. Thank you for that vote. All right, under unfinished business, Dawson Road upgrade. Where to start? First of all, we're saddened that this whole board is saddened that we couldn't make Dawson Road happen in a timely manner, because we were all geeked about it happening. This board was very much in favor of Dawson Road being taken care of, North Dawson Road, I should say. With that said, I did have a conversation with Supervisor Jeff Martin, and the situation is a bit different over there. So the conversation is that what we hope people will do is keep the conversation going. We know there's an election going and coming up, and their board is going to change. Jeff is not going to be the supervisor. They have a couple other positions that are going to change as well. So I said, you know, because there was some misinformation that took place at that board meeting, and I was livid, and I told Jeff I was livid. I had a board meeting with at another board, and I really did some ribbing, and he said I even socked him in the arm publicly, so which I did. It was a good-natured ribbing, but nonetheless. But I encourage people on Dawson Road to make sure that they, on the Dalton side of Dawson Road, to make sure that they talk with their new board over there, as well as whatever makeup of this board, that they continue to talk with this board, whatever the makeup of this board is, to ensure that they know that this board knows how they feel about Dawson Road. So that whatever this board is the makeup is, that they know that that this is that you are very interested in having this done for next year. We have, our minutes will reflect that that's an important, that North Dawson Road is very important to this board at this point in time. But the Dawson Road people need to carry that message forward for whatever the makeup is of the new board. So, and that's, both Jeffrey and I stress that message. For whatever board makeup is, we both stress that message. Nothing gets done. I don't want to say nothing gets done, that's not true. Things get done when citizens step forward. So I urge the people of Dawson Road to attend their board meetings and or call and make their feelings known, because that's how things happen. One of the sticking points at the Dalton Township meeting was somebody stood up and said the people are just suddenly at Dalton Township just suddenly want their road done. Well, they've been, and she kind of overtook the meeting. And that was a problem because that was not the case at all. Since Tony Barnes was supervisor, they have been wanting North Dawson Road done, and perhaps long before that. But that was a problem. So I'm here to tell you, it's in the minutes, we're not gonna let this slide. So that's my update on North Dawson Road.
So is the current board over there, they're just like, it's absolute no, or
They do not have the financial resources to spend money on Dawson Road
this fiscal year?
this fiscal year. They would look at putting it in the budget possibly for next fiscal year, but it's tight over there, and so.
And the cost will change.
Mhm.
Everything goes up,
Yeah, everything goes up,
you know.
everything goes up. So, but we're not letting it slide. So, okay, anyone have anything else they want to add to that? I don't know what we can add to that. We're just not gonna let it slide,
No.
so. Okay, recurring business. I think, Melissa, before I put you up, I'm just gonna slip the tire drive on here because that's gonna be quick, I think. The tire drive for 2025, we received the information about the tire drive grant process will begin shortly. As with last year, if approved, Muskegon County will apply and manage the tire recycling grant with the state. So we need to let them know by end of business on 9/27 if we are interested in hosting a tire event and the number of trailers we need. So they will have an idea on how many to request. We also need to provide a tentative date for our event. What we do need to remember is each municipality is responsible for running their own event, including scheduling the trailers and delivery. So loading the tires is very labor intensive, which we know, and plenty of strong, dependable volunteers is recommended. You want me to make my little statement here?
Sure.
Before I ask for a motion, I am going to say this. I think the timing was pretty good for our event. The location was very good for our event. We had it at the transfer station. So that is great. We no longer have space right here. We are really shy on volunteers, pathetically shy on volunteers. And we had 2 trailers last year that we didn't need to. We filled up one and went into part of a second. My son came from Comstock Park to help. Thank goodness for that. One gentleman came in to drop off tires and he stayed. If he had not stayed, it would have been Heather and Bob directed traffic, my son and Dave, and I helped with traffic on the inside, and my granddaughter.
And Ron.
And Ron, yeah, Ron, yeah, sorry, Ron.
I was gonna say, I
Yeah,
know Ron
Ron,
is there.
yeah, Ron, and Ron should have been in there because he had bad shoulder. So, but, I mean, that was literally it. But it was the one man who came to drop off tires that stayed. So, that's my little, before I ask for a vote, that's what I had to say. I feel like I have to say that.
Can we get Andy's to put out something on Facebook?
Well, we had tons of, yeah, there was tons of it.
You know, we've had years where we had more volunteers than we needed.
Yeah.
Usually we have a lot of volunteers. This year we just had
Well,
a
we used to
tough
get the
time,
pay it back program from the sheriff's department.
which was
That helped.
really helpful,
Them
yeah.
guys were great.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they were fast,
Mhm,
and we'd fill up 3.5 semis
mhm.
in a day. And we didn't fill up even 1.5 semis.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, hopefully that's because people's,
And my thing is,
Things are
if
getting
we
clean.
don't do it, them tires are gonna be in our 2-tracks.
right,
Yeah.
yeah. I say we do it. We
And
always have.
hopefully we get a better group of volunteers.
Yep.
And
And even when
my
we,
back's better, so I'll be in one of them trailers, so I
Yeah.
don't have no problem.
even when we did it, we still got a present at the pole barn door. Ron still had to end up taking care of those. After it was all over, they left them right there for Ron to take care of.
Thanks, Ron.
So, okay, then with that said, I'm going to call for a motion.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion and a support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, I will let them, oh, we
Do
need to know
a
one,
tentative date?
we
Let's set a
need,
date now.
we need to know how many trailers.
3.
One.
3? Sorry. We didn't,
We
we don't,
used to fill up 3, and
I
there
know.
was, people were saying that they didn't know about the tire drive we had going on. There wasn't enough notice and stuff.
We
I heard
did-
that from quite a few folks. And I know it's on our website and stuff
it
like
was on our
that.
website, it was on Facebook, it was in,
But I think
the
if you get one
newsletter?
trailer, then we're gonna get bombarded. You're gonna have tires sitting all over the place in the transfer station.
We've always gotten 2, right?
we done 3
years
and
ago.
then 2.
What
We
happens
have to
if
pay,
we don't fill them?
we have to pay for it.
Well, we'll throw one tire on it, we won't have to.
That's
what we were
Believe it or
told.
not, that is the
That's what
truth.
we were told.
You have to fill them up, but you at least have to have one trailer on the,
I don't know.
yeah.
So if you had 3 trailers and threw 1 tire on each one, that
No, you have to fill them up, and then at least the third trailer has to have one.
Nice.
But
Okay, guys, you,
if one goes unused, it's still a very good event, keeps some tires out of our township.
yeah,
What
but
is the
it
cost?
costs us a lot.
What
It's-
would it
I-
cost us if we didn't use a trailer, do you
I
know?
think it's $2,000.
Oh. So maybe we do 1 or 2 and we just, when they're full, they're full.
I'd say we could do 2. We managed to do 2, and,
Okay.
okay.
Spring seems to be a nice time. It's
Yeah.
not too hot yet. People are cleaning out their
Mhm.
garages and woods.
Yep.
2 trailers, and what about a date to be determined?
We
For the
did,
29th?
well, we have to let them know approximately. May, was good in May when we did that. And we can,
May, but not Memorial Day weekend.
mhm.
The 17th, tentatively? That's Mother's Day weekend. Oh, no, it's not. Never mind. Yeah, I think we did it, didn't we do it? It was like May 18th or 19th this year. So should we do May 17th as a tentative date?
Sure.
We just have to give them an approximate.
Everybody mark your calendars and be ready to volunteer.
Good clock.
And we do
Thank
take
you.
tractor tires now.
Yes, that was
that helps
the big
build.
thing.
And
Them
we-
tires so big.
And rims.
Yep.
And the rims, that was a big deal this time.
Yes.
That we were able to take tractor tires and tires with rims, and we were never able to do that before last year.
Right.
So that's a big deal. Now, once we've addressed that, and now I'd like to introduce Melissa Eikenberry. And Melissa's part of the Parks and Rec Committee, and she's going to talk, and she also has a program called Hosting Butterflies. And in the short time I've gotten to know Melissa, I've learned a whole lot. I mean, you've even made Ron learn a whole lot, which is really interesting. So I asked Melissa to join us, and she spent some time actually with at the read-along. She came and spoke to the children out there, and her program is fascinating. Who isn't really interested in learning more about butterflies and caterpillars and cocoons? And so it really is fascinating. So, but I asked her to address us tonight because as part of the Parks and Recreation Committee, we have this berm out here in the large parking lot. And right now, it's a bit of an eyesore. And part of the recommendation was to put some plants on it. Well, if we go to the nursery and we put plants on it that are, you know, beautiful plants that need water, they're never going to get. Ron's not gonna go out there with a bucket or a sprinkling, he's shaking his head, no, I'm not gonna go out there with a sprinkling can. But
Get you one of those.
Melissa has some other ideas for planting native plants that do better for the berm and perhaps have a better way of attracting nature, and I'll just let you take it over from there.
Okay. Kevin and I came through last night and we took a walk, and the trail is awesome, and I was actually really excited to see all of the plants, the native plants that we have growing out here, which means that we have native insects like the native butterflies and the monarchs and stuff. Not a lot of milkweed out there, which I hope that we can change that, but the berm, what we did notice, the first thing that we noticed was that there's tree of heaven growing in there. And I'm not sure if anybody is familiar with tree of heaven, but it is actually from hell. Because it is not from here. It's and the problem with that is if you cut it, then it's like a cartoon, where it pops up in 100 places, other place, So I definitely recommend that before we start putting money into that we research exactly how to eradicate it, because it will destroy sewers, it will destroy roads, it will destroy the root systems, go into all that kind of stuff. Which brings me to not necessarily here, but just want to throw this little seed out there and hope it lands somewhere. We should add something in the newsletter that has a little snippet about invasive species. People don't know what's growing in their yard and what could be hurting their septic to their sewers or any of those kinds of things. So just adding a little, just letting them know information. What they choose to do with it is fine, but this information is getting lost.
I've got a bit that big, that much room
That much room, what?
in the
Oh,
newsletter
the
right
newsletter?
now.
Okay. All right, we'll get some 5 font going and send everybody little magnifying glasses. So anyway, so my recommendation though really is that we, before we start planting and putting money into that we figure out what we can do to make sure, because otherwise it will outcompete the rest of the plants that get planted in there. So that is something that I wanted to put out there. I think that you can actually, very easily, you'd be able to take a lot of the plants that you have growing and divide them and plant them in there and not have to spend a lot of money because that's already what's growing. You have box elders, you have field goldenrod, you have rough blazing star, all the things you need to have like a chucked full of butterflies, beautiful all season long berm with no maintenance. Just gotta get the tree ahead of now. So,
Okay.
but then also, I mean, you will wanna buy some plants because you don't have everything here, you know, but, yeah, and if we can, get them planted either early spring, if we can get the tree of heaven taken care of, if we can plant them either early spring or even late fall, we wouldn't have to do a whole lot of watering.
What's a tree of heaven look like?
It looks like a black walnut tree, only it doesn't feel or have the consistency of it, and it doesn't smell like a black walnut tree. If you like break a black walnut, you can smell it. There's an app called Seek. I highly recommend that everybody, you got it now? I highly recommend everybody download this app. It's called Seek. You can use it to identify all of the species. It's not always 100% correct, but usually it can identify most species, and it's getting smarter all the time as AI is. But that will help you identify too what is out there. So
Is it also called Osage?
I don't think so. I'm not familiar with that.
It's a great big fern.
Huh?
It's like a great big fern.
Yeah. So that is what my recommendation is for the berm. And then I don't know if you want me to keep going on the rest of, okay, so I also would like to recommend that since how we are in the position of redoing and everything, something that I've noticed that has gotten lost over the years is insect education, butterfly education, because technology is so important and we're trying to keep up. These other things are getting forgotten. So I think that's something that we could do as a community to kind of lighten even the atmosphere of the times, is to make a community project of a a monarch way station, which is something that has actually been going on for many years all across the United States. And it tells you all the plants to plant for the monarch, for a way station, for, you know, and get the community involved, let them come and help plant, you know, and then even tell them like when the seed heads are, you know, going to seed, come get some seeds and put them in your own garden, because then that way it helps us not have so many seeds spreading. But by doing this, you also bring the community together. They get more involved with what's happening here. They know that you need volunteers. You get more volunteers, younger people, you get younger kids involved. So by putting together something like this where you can get, they also learn. And they also learn about the butterfly relationship to the plants. But then you don't have to do all the work. And then we can have, like, if you have a hose out there, put a couple of watering cans, so that if somebody sees something's dry and they're taking a walk and they're, oh, you know what, we'll go water it, you know, like they do at the cemeteries. Like, that allows people to take ownership. And that's what we want, right? We want people to take ownership. They will take ownership if they feel connected. They'll feel connected if we give them something to connect to. And this is just my recommendation. recommendation for that.
When you were walking the trail, Melissa, did you see a spot that might work for, because I read that pamphlet that you gave me, and I thought, I would think that there's a place we could do a way station here.
I did, I did see one over by the, was it over by the adult, or the kid, the playground part?
I believe so, yeah.
There was trees over there and stuff too, so yeah, I was looking, but I would have to look too, just to make sure sun-wise and stuff like that.
Okay.
But just in that little bit of time that we had, I did find an area that I thought would work out real well.
'Cause
So.
I think that would be a really nice project to do, and something that's beneficial to the township, that certainly benefits nature. And, you know, and obviously the earth,
Mhm.
so.
And, yes, and the environment, so yeah, those are my,
Perfect.
I think I covered just about everything there, for,
So right now, as I understand what you're saying, we have to clean that up. We have to get rid of the,
I think if, at the very least, before we plant anything, we should at least like look into what has to be done to get rid of it and where we're at currently,
Okay.
and what, you know, like assess, evaluate the situation is what we
Okay.
need to do.
okay,
And where did it come from and where is it at?
okay,
Because it came from somewhere, so I think that we should assess that.
okay. So we don't know where all that berm came from. Is it from that ground? All of that
Yes.
berm is literally from that ground?
Yes.
From that stand of pines, we just got.
Okay. And then, so if we can clean it up this year, what's the maximum you think we need to spend right now?
Well, you know, huh?
Pretty hard to say.
It really is hard to say. I would say that, you know, you would wanna add some soil because it really was kind of, but you wouldn't between 500 and 1,000, I
Okay.
would say.
Because some of the stuff I read in some of your pamphlets, it said like, we might need mulch, and, you know, and so I'm thinking there's some seeds. We're not gonna do any plantings, but maybe seeds.
Well, the native plant, you can buy native plants, and native plants are actually not that expensive.
Okay,
Native plants, like Weese's,
okay,
like $2.75 or something
Okay.
like that so those actually those aren't that expensive.
okay,
So we could do seeds, we can do a little bit of everything to
Okay.
fit the budget. That's the nice thing about native plants, and, you know, is that you can
Okay.
make it work for you.
So then, all right, so I'm looking at whatever it takes to clean up or eradicate this tree of heaven or hell or whatever it might be. And then purchasing the mulch, soil, and so I'm looking for a motion up to $1,000.
I'll make that motion. Absolutely.
All in favor?
Hi.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you.
Oh, and one last little thing, I had brought Heather, or I gave Heather some butterflies. To me, you can't really connect with nature if you don't have an opportunity. So today, before we go, just so you know, I brought habitats and butterflies and chrysalises, monarch chrysalises, that each family will be able to take home to release with their family and watch the monarch chrysalis. Just so you get an idea of why I'm even here.
I had a question on the way station. What do we
Yes.
need to do to get that
Oh.
moving forward?
Good question. I meant to ask Kevin to pass these out while I was talking, but I forgot. Will you pass those out for me real quick? Here, I'm gonna you guys can all have one, and then, 3, 4. You can all have one if you want one, you don't have to take one, but to get going right away, we would just need to find the area that we would want, start clearing it out, but then if we wanna get the community involved in, then we wanna have them involved with cleaning it out too, which, you know, so we can pass it back. I don't know if you wanna make that like a Parks and Rec thing where they kinda like head that up or how that works, so.
However we do it, I would like to do that.
And I've got your habitat in my office there on a chair. Does anyone have any questions for Melissa while she's here that they want?
I know they like milkweed a lot, but there's also poison milkweed and animals that eat the caterpillar gets sick or dies because it's poison. I've had poison milkweed in me, it's done a lot of damage.
Well, I read that, the milkweed can be, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, so,
Yeah.
do you, I don't know how important it is to everything on the camera, so, all milkweed is poison if ingested, just, you know, but most animals don't eat it because, you know, it has a horrible taste. And
No, you have this one.
milkweed is poison to humans if ingested too, but
I've had it on my skin and it's.
It wasn't ingested, it ate a hole in its arm.
the milkweed ate a, then you must definitely have
I
an
know
allergic.
it's up, you know.
You must have an allergic reaction.
Don't get near any poisonous plants at all, please. Poison ivy, poison sumac, we don't want any of it.
No,
If it's
because
all around the playground or something, it might not be something for kids.
I see that you have, I see what you're saying, yeah, I have had milkweed sat on all over me, and I've never had that experience, so I'm glad
It's
to
the
know
purple
that.
flower.
Yeah, it's only when it flowers and turns,
Flowers.
like it's the flower, purple flower on the top.
Really?
So I don't know if it's just the female.
I used to play with the pods and all that growing up, it never bothered me, touch the flower door.
I've never heard of that, so I'm interested about that, to take a look. So, thank you for that. Anybody else?
I just have a comment.
Yes.
That was really awesome when you sent she sent a habitat with butterflies in it for us to take home and the kids, we released them. And then a chrysalis for us to watch. And it was fascinating and, I mean, we loved it. It was very cool. So
Good.
thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you for that.
All right. I think we're at the point of board comments, and then after we're done with that, then we'll move on to public comments. Brian, do you have anything?
Oh, yes. Sometimes the same, but thank you for everybody coming. It's great seeing the community here. It takes all of us to make this community happen. Exciting things out there on the walking trail and other potential happenings out there. I did see the pickleball court look like it was painted. There's nobody playing on it yet that I've seen, but I'm sure it's going to get a lot of use. So get out and try to enjoy it. And November's coming. Get out and vote. However you so choose, vote. That's what makes our community strong, that everybody gets their voice out. So thanks again for coming.
Dave?
I'd just like to say that with the election season ramping up, we've been contacted by several of our residents about correspondence they've received either through the mail or by email, telling them that they need to register to vote. They're not registered. And in some cases, they've received 2 or 3 notices, and this is coming from some outfit in Washington, D.C., trying to get the vote out. But it's confusing. A lot of people are coming in that, I've been voting for years, now I'm not on the list anymore. I said, so we come and look them up, and they're all on the list still. So, but there's a lot of stuff going on out there, so everybody's aware of it. That's it.
That's unfortunate. That,
Yeah, it's
you know,
confusing
that
people.
kind of stuff happens. You know. The newsletter will be coming out soon. There's a lot in there about the Muskegon Area District Library and their new logo. Also, our Fall Festival is on October 5th from 4 to 6. Hopefully everyone will come, and pray that it doesn't rain because there's a lot of work that goes into this, and it's fun if you have little kids or grandchildren. bring them because we're going to have trick-or-treating stations along the walking trail. So we really don't want it to rain. And we've got a live band and a food truck and just a lot of fun that happens at that. And it's a great time to meet community members that you might not know, or community members that you do know and you haven't seen in a long while. So hopefully you'll be able to join us at that. Heather?
Just a reminder, the last day to pay summer taxes without interest is Monday the 16th, so.
How do I beat that? I have no updates on natural gas. I did send Curtis Vanderwall, our state representative, a text, and he has not returned it, so I don't know where he is with looking for the grant money, but I'll keep hounding him every day, so. And thank you all for coming. We do appreciate a group like this because, like Brian said, you know, you help us make the decisions that we make.
Yeah. I forgot one thing too. I just saw Martha's smiling face there. Senior Millage apples.
Oh, I can see her now.
Yeah, Senior Millage apples will be ready on Monday. So if you're 60 or over, Martha and I are packing apples on Friday. So when you walk in the township hall, it will smell like apples on Monday. So pick up your apples, please. Okay, public comments. Tom, you said you could hardly wait.
Not necessarily true, but I'll hobble over there.
You're not hobbling. That's not a hobble.
I know that. I can manage until I try standing still, and then get a little wobbly. I'm gonna start out with Robert first. Just a suggestion, okay? I heard the term skid steer, right?
Yes,
Have you ever dealt with one of those?
yes.
Because I rented one here earlier this year and it just tore my yard right up. Every time you turn, it's pushing mud, it's do this, do that. I'll never do it again.
You have to have an
I'm
experienced
getting-
operator.
Pardon?
You have to have an experienced operator.
Oh, man.
I've had one for 25 years and I do fairly
The
well.
small one or the big one?
Mine's a medium size.
Oh, this was a small one.
Tracks or wheels?
Yep. Whatever. End of conversation.
We'll be fine.
And this is a question which I considered calling, but I neglected to do that. In reference to the transfer station. Like probably a lot of people here, after all the wind we had and everything, I've got brush that I'd like to get rid of.
Mm-hmm.
What is the stipulation in reference to using the transfer station for that? We get charged for it?
No, you can bring leaves, they go on one side, and brush, not tree trunks, but brush
brush.
goes on the other.
Okay. And that's open Saturday?
Saturdays from 8:30 in the morning until 3.
Okay, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. And you need to be a Cedar Creek resident to bring it.
Sure.
He qualifies.
Yeah, you qualify.
I've been there all my life.
Yeah, yeah. You can do that.
This next subject is a little touchy.
Okay, we can do touchy. We might not like it,
I
but
don't
we can
want
do it.
anybody to take it personal, okay? Because it's kind of a board decision or board information.
Okay.
The long lost cemetery, the Horton Cemetery, okay? That's in my heart because it's my ancestors. And it was named after my mother's family, okay? Because they owned the big chunks of property back then. Well, like I said, long forgotten. Most people didn't even know it existed. We took up the initiative as a township to bring that cemetery back to what it is now, okay? I knocked myself out on that cemetery because of the situation. You can ask anybody here, I spent a lot of time down there, from taking trees down to everything else. Even though it doesn't look very big, when you start cleaning that place up, it's bigger than you realize. Okay? I've been somewhat disappointed this year because of the way things seem to be neglected. When I say things, I was happy to see they took the tree down that had fallen there. But there are, and the whole cemetery is kind of a, I don't know what you'd call it. It's just,
Full of moss.
yeah, pretty much. Except for the ditch and through there. And there's weeds that tall into that ditch. And I don't even recall, I don't keep track when it's mowed. I just travel that road along with Brian, my son, and other people in here possibly on Ewing Road. Chuck, probably. In reference to, when I go by, I see it because I worked on it so hard, okay? Maybe that's just me. Other people might just fly by there and not even think about it. The other issue I have, I don't want anybody to take this personal,
No, you can say it.
but when I worked that for 3, 4, 5 years, whatever it was, I was bringing down $600 a year, okay? As soon as I turned it over to somebody else, it got boosted to $800 a year. I don't understand, especially the way it's been neglected.
Nobody's making $800 a year on it.
That's what it showed in the budget.
That's the amount of money that's available to
Okay.
be used for the cemetery.
Oh,
No one is being paid $800.
okay.
It's just, that's what the township is saying, we can afford to spend this year if the
Yeah, we
cemetery
do.
needs it.
Then how does the person that's maintaining it get paid? How do they get paid? By the hour? Do they get paid by this or
Hourly,
that?
yeah, it's hourly wage,
It's an hourly rate.
yeah.
But somebody's gonna have to do a little something so that it gets more attention. That's my idea, okay?
Part of the problem is equipment over there.
Pardon?
Part of the problem is equipment.
Yeah. Equipment. I had a trailer, I used my own lawnmower, okay? Anything else I needed, I made the arrangements and got it myself. One time we did pay to have somebody come and take a tree down. But other than that, but it's not much of a cemetery, but it's personal in my life.
Okay.
So, once
I
I'm,
can certainly appreciate that.
once I'm gone, nobody will worry about it.
No, that's not true. I've been talking to Nancy about, I have to get it surveyed to put additional plots in there.
Oh,
Oh, I've been talking with Nancy about doing that. If that's something that the board should decide that they want to do. It would also involve getting a sexton.
oh my goodness, yes. That's down the road.
Yeah.
I realize that.
Um,
The only other thing I have seen, well, I don't know if it ever be considered, whatever they call it in reference to just burying people out in the woods. Some cemeteries are doing that.
Yeah, it's a green
It's
burial.
And we've got like, I don't know, 10 acres or something here, is that what it is?
Yeah.
I wanna just help him a little bit.
Yeah, help me,
That-
I need a
that-
whole lot.
That's been surveyed. And the county surveyed that, that's how we found out we didn't have a lot of land as much
Right.
as we thought. So you might wanna look through some records because
To
you
find
should.
out the exact,
You have a survey on that because we talked when I was the clerk about extending it back. And we walked the whole thing with the county surveyor and we did all that.
do we have metal stakes in there?
I don't know what he did, because it
Okay.
was so many years ago and I don't have the greatest
There are
memory.
stakes
But-
and I put plastic,
I just want you to
Okay,
know,
good.
maybe check with that, because the county should have something on that.
Okay,
Because we all walked that with them, and we had that survey because we had to change some of the property lines a little bit because it wasn't right. And
Okay.
we lost land, we gave it up so that the homeowners were right
okay.
with that cemetery. But I do want to thank Tom because I know that there were monuments and stones out there we didn't even know were there. They were buried, they were covered, and Tom and Nancy did a tremendous job cleaning that up, so thank you. But I wanted to tell you that there is a survey
Okay,
somewhere.
perfect. Thank you.
I got a quick comment. We get this from the MTA, Michigan Township Association.
yeah.
And I'm gonna share it with you. It says cemeteries as a community asset, right on the front. Just happened while you're talking, because I set it aside and said, well, something I'll share with you, so
Oh,
there's some reading right here on it.
thank you.
Another thing to look into with a cemetery, I know when our son was in Boy Scouts, they actually clean cemeteries as volunteer work. So you could look into like local troops to see if that'd be something that, because they have to earn so many community service hours for every troop. So I know our son clean, and they usually pick the little ones that nobody
Right.
pays
Oh,
much
really?
attention to.
Okay,
Great.
wow.
So, and it's free.
That's the best part.
Wow, wonderful, thank you, thank you. Yes,
There is one more issue in reference to the cemetery. When we had it surveyed, okay, we lost property, all right? If you look at the surveys on that road, all are straight lines, east and west, okay? The gentleman next to the cemetery there, which was involved with the township for many years, I'm not putting it on him, but when they surveyed that, instead of being a straight line, they cut it like this. They cut our property out. And their excuse at the time was, well, when it was surveyed, they surveyed it from this direction. Well, then they surveyed it another direction. That was the excuse I had heard. But now, I'm not pointing fingers, but if you look back there, the gentleman that has that property did a lot of excavating. And he drifted over onto, which should have been our property, okay? The cemetery property. So, if you go there and you walk it, you'll notice it goes crooked, and here's his excavation right here. I don't know if he had anything to do with that or not, but it looks pretty mysterious.
No,
Hey, Tom,
what happened,
Tom,
Tom,
can I chirp in there
was-
real quick?
Yeah,
My property, Tim's property, all of our properties set on an angle to the road. Every
somewhat,
one of them,
but
near
not
the south.
like, not
Oh, it's
like
quite a
this
bit.
one.
It's quite a bit.
Well, it's not, it just cut to 10 acres right down to.
If you look out the back of my house
Mhm.
and wanna look straight, I probably lose 30 feet this way.
Well, I was looking at the plat book and it showed them straight.
They're not
Yeah.
straight.
well, they found what the problem was when we had that done. Was one surveyor years, I mean hundreds of years ago, went from one end and came this way.
Right.
And somebody else was doing it and came from River Road and came this way, and they didn't match up, and that's what the problem was.
So nowadays with what they got, they can pinpoint everything within a
Yes,
foot.
and that's why we
Yeah.
gave up some of our
them
land
things
to
sit
make the
way
residents
more
right.
crooked than you
okay.
realize.
All right.
Way more.
All right, I'm
Okay.
done, I'm done griping.
Thank you, Mr. Beaman. Anyone else have a comment? Yes?
I just want to take Mr. Beeman's suggestion and get it on record, I guess, what I said.
Thanks for the
Okay.
record. Strange word.
Just put it on record, I'd like to know who the attorney was, and I have that information now. And then I will talk to Ms. Ertz after this.
Arts.
And I don't know if I need to say anything else.
You are,
Your
I'm
name
Scott
is-
Kaiser.
okay, there you go.
And I live out on,
Don,
Don Snow.
Don Snowcamp, yes, okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Which road do you live in? Do you live on Don Snowcamp?
I live on Maple.
On Maple, okay.
Next to, so do we.
Pardon?
So do we.
You live on Maple as well?
We're their neighbors.
You're, okay.
Each side of the trail that was talked about.
I don't know, is that the, I'm trying to get a definitive for the area of Oak that you're referring to. Because there's Oak Street and Oak Road back there, so I'm not sure.
It's the one right down the center.
There's no center, it makes a loop.
Right in the middle of the,
Here, I'll show.
In the middle of that loop, it goes down the center.
it's right in the middle of the, it goes right down the middle of the property. Right down the middle of the,
Like between the houses? So is that the, are you referring to the, it's not really a road, it's a
It's not really
two-track
a
that
road.
goes down the hill to the lake? Is that what you're referring to?
it's,
Is it the section that was donated by Ruth Blamer?
yes,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah,
It's gated off and not a road really.
it was, somebody made it into a road. It was it's my understanding it was a piece of land at one time that was donated by Ruth Blamer. And somehow over time it got made into a road-ish.
Yeah,
Trail.
yeah, you can't fit, like, people take golf carts and quads and that type of thing,
Well, they drive down it.
not with vehicles.
Yeah, not without a car or truck.
You can't.
You won't get back
You can't get
up.
off of it, you can't. Two different places. 45 degrees
Yeah.
angle, it's all
No,
gravel.
we're talking about two different places
I
then.
don't think so. I don't-
The section that was donated by Ruth
No,
Blamer is,
we're talking about two different places then. Because we're talking about two different places. Because this is an actual drivable road,
Yeah, that's the, there's actually no road there, that's part of the lake.
so.
It's so confusing.
yeah.
Back there is very confusing.
I wanna have,
Survey of our property.
Hi, my name's Mary Kaiser, and I just want to comment, they're my neighbors, that strip is between us, and I understand right of easement and access and ingress and egress, the coming and the going, but that's for a road, but one doesn't use the road for recreation, such as activities, parties, bonfires, sunbathing, just to make clear that we're talking about access, not use. True?
I'm not exactly sure what you're saying.
I guess in our private conversation, I can bring it up more and make myself clear, but I'm just wondering, yeah, I guess my question is premature, but I want to know if you're looking at access or you're looking at recreational rights.
What am I looking at?
Well, the board with the attorney or whatever, how it works. Forgive my ignorance, I don't understand this stuff.
you're looking at me like it's.
Yeah, I am. I'm trying to figure out what you're asking me first.
What is the
So
attorney
basically,
looking at
we
for
have-
Oak Road? That's
Yeah.
basically what
We're trying to, the premise is the township should not own a road. That's the bottom line. We should not own a piece of property. And especially a piece of property in a private subdivision. So I'm not looking at anything in terms of access or I mean, in terms of recreation or any of that.
Okay.
I'm not trying to make this any bigger than it is.
Thank you. Sincerely.
I think the part, they must be talking about a different part of Oak than we're talking about the piece
think
that goes
so.
between our houses. Because we have there's huge berm on both sides, and there's just enough to get a side-by-side quad
No.
down
no.
in between.
This is a drivable road.
In between the centers of our houses, but we have everybody and their relatives and brother using that all day long, all times of the night, quads going up and down the hill at 11 o'clock at night.
If you're talking about the lake access,
Yes,
I am not talking about the lake access at all.
okay.
I am talking about a road that runs right in the middle of this,
It should be part of the township is what it should be. I mean, the subdivision.
subdivision. This is a road that it is not in the plat map. That
Oh,
plat
okay.
map shows it wrong. It's, you can't, because the plat map does not describe the way GIS.
Right, and
Somehow,
if you actually look at the old plat maps, all the houses that are on the lake show an old road that runs like basically right through our house.
I know. I've never seen anything that is so,
Yes.
Messy.
Yeah, I remember when we bought our house, she said, and I don't think anyone's gonna drive through here, cause it would've went through our front porch.
yeah.
There still shows that there's a
And if you look
road
at the
there.
plat map, they absolutely go the opposite way of the way GIS shows everything.
Right.
So it's like, what happened here?
There must have been, before it was developed, there must have been a small dirt road that went right around the edge of the lake, because it shows that there's a road there. That, I'm assuming that's how they access the camp that's back there. So, that makes sense.
yeah.
Now I understand what part you're talking about.
Yeah, it's right in the, literally right in the center. And you can access where you're talking about, but I get in there and I can't get back out. I'm going, how the heck is this, you know? Who designed this? What were they thinking, you know?
And to make all the street numbers almost exactly the same, and all they did was just change the tree name. There's 5841 Maple, 5841 Oak, I mean, like every single,
Yeah,
and they don't vary a whole lot. It's,
yeah.
I'm sure it's fun for UPS.
So with
Okay.
that said, we're just trying to figure it out and trying to make it so it is right for the residents, you know. The public does not belong in a private, using, it's my estimation. I am one board member. We're trying to figure it out legally because I'm not a lawyer. Nobody sitting at this table is a lawyer, at least that for as far as I know. So we have to seek legal opinion. The lawyer will tell us, and I asked him today because one of my, Vic Chandonnet and Bill Humphreys, Jeff Homrich, they were talking about putting a private subdivision sign up. And because people were coming in and wanting to use it. I asked the attorney that question today, and he said it would be his advice not to do it at this point until we resolved the issue of the road, until we once got everything settled. Then, you know, at that point, then we can determine what to do with a private sign. But right now, that's still technically a public road, because the township technically owns it. So, I mean, this is a kind of a can of worms here, and I'm trying to figure out how to best handle it with the attorney. And the board was just advised about it today. This is the first they heard about it. And so I'm sitting with our zoning administrator, and we are literally trying to figure out all the details, trying to figure out what are our next steps. And quite frankly, it's a sticky situation. So thank you for coming and trying to, you know, that's what you're supposed to do, quite frankly. You're supposed to come here when there's a problem like this And I applaud you for doing it, because it's one of those things, I don't want to deal with it, but you don't want to deal with it either.
Right.
So,
And don't ever feel that you have to wait for a meeting if you have,
yeah.
you can always call and, or stop in too.
And-
You know, you don't
and-
have to wait until a meeting if you have an issue.
And because this is also a zoning issue, our zoning administrator is Lorraine. Wednesdays are always the best days to come in, because this is the kind of question that skirts around the zoning ordinances. So Wednesday is the best day. She's here from 8:30 until 4:30 or 5. So I would urge you to come in when she's here, because she knows all the technicalities. So. Any other questions from anyone?
I'll move to adjourn.
Support.
Okay. All right, thank you all.